Hello, this is Fan Time. Have fun in this tutorial.
Hello, this is Middle-Aged Dad coming to help you build a fully automated script that will collect the max daily amount of wood and gold in the mobile game Island War. To do this, we will use 3 free-to-use programs: BlueStacks 5 for the mobile emulator, AutoIt for creating and running our automations, JC Picker, or any other tool to get the color and cursor information on the screen. All the tools are free and can be downloaded and installed from each of their respective pages. Nothing here is sponsored, so the links below are just direct links to their download pages. The basis of this video will give you a quick overview of what the automation does, as well as show you the exact scripting I built for my son. This script can easily collect max gold and wood each day with almost zero effort and time. To quick idea of what this can do, my son's account went from about 50,000 total power to over 1.3 million in less than 20 days. Quick note though, you can create macros inside of BlueStacks, but the macros will fail due to random pop-up screens and timing issues, such as battles taking longer than usual or going faster than usual. Each battle is unique. So this script we're building using AutoIt will be able to handle those situations and it won't matter. So to get started, you will need to set up these things. So after BlueStacks, AutoIt, all that's installed, what you'll need to find is your SciT script editor, which is the AutoIt scripting editor. Open it and it will bring you to a blank page. So from here, we're going to start adding our variables. I'm just going to start copying and pasting these in and explaining them instead of typing them out in real time. So first, we create some global variables. This is to handle a pause event in case we want to pause the script during it running if we need to do something on our PC and don't want to completely exit out. We're also going to create another global variable called battle count, ship count, and troop count. These will just keep track of what our script is doing so that it knows when it needs to send ships, when it needs to send troops, and when it actually needs to check for a start battle condition. With our global variables created, we're going to go ahead and create our first set of hotkeys. These are to handle, again, as mentioned earlier, the game paused. If you press the letter P, it will pause the script without exiting it. And if you press the escape key on your keyboard, it will escape. I tried to leave notes on each one of these little functions and everything so that if you're looking at this and curious what it says and I skip past it, it should give a good overview. So now we need to go to we're going to create our very first function, which is essentially, or our first 2 functions, which are to handle these hotkeys for pause and terminate. First, we'll create our function to handle the pause event. We'll call this toggle pause. And basically it's going to check and say if it's not paused, pause it. And when it is paused, it will sleep for 3 seconds, provide a little tooltip in the corner. 00 is just the top left corner of your monitor that just says script is paused, and then it'll keep repeating that until the letter P is pressed again, at which time it'll exit out of this while loop, and the script will continue on. Now we're going to add our exit function. This just allows us to exit the script. If we just want to stop it, quit it from running in the background, stop the loop that will happen later in the game, all you do is press the escape key. It'll close itself. Easy as that. After our terminate is created, we're going to add a quick little sleep function. The only reason I add this is it just puts a little 5-second sleep right when the script starts, just in case I forgot to open a window or I forgot to click campaign mode or something along those lines. So yeah, and then the next script, this one, nothing to really talk about here. All it is doing is going to activate the BlueStacks app player window and maximize or make it maximized on your screen so that it is the active window. If it's not the active window, it will then make it the active window. So instead of pasting a big massive amount of code with our next function, I'm just going to detail my thought process on it. So to show you that, basically what we're going to do is create an infinite loop that will run through all the conditions until the script is paused or exited. It means it'll keep playing the game until you tell it to stop. And while it's playing the game, or while it's in that loop, what it needs to do is verify BlueStacks as the active window, check for starting conditions, and also a max wood screen that can appear this will appear when you hit the max wood. It's somewhere around 1.5 million wood each day. It will appear, and it needs to be checked, otherwise it will stop the script, and you don't want to stop the script because you can still collect more gold. Then it'll send your first set of ships after it has actually started the battle. It'll then send your first set of paratroopers, then send your next set of paratroopers, and they will keep going non-stop until the battle is over. And then the script will check for exit battle conditions, basically checking for a next screen, game over screen. So for the first function, verify BlueStacks is the active screen. This one's the easiest of them all. Basically, we already created this win-weight active function. Oh, did not mean to do that. So we will call that function, and we will pass in the name of the BlueStacks app player. So win-weight active, it's looking for a title, text, and timeout. We're going to pass it, or not looking for a timeout, we're setting timeout to 0. We're going to pass in the BlueStacks app player. That's the name of the actual player, and there's no text to be looking for, so it's just looking for this. It'll maximize it, make it active. So now we need to check the starting conditions and also build a function to handle the max wood. So starting here, we'll add our function, or our statement, our if statement. And what this is going to do is it's going to check for the battle count being 0 first, because you only can start the battle one time. It's nothing that you want to keep looping. So we're in an infinite loop. So inside the check battle start function, when it can actually start the battle, it'll change the value to 1. And that way this loop will stop happening. That way you won't keep going into these 6-second sleeps, and it won't keep checking for battle conditions. So now that we've created our reference point, our call to a function, we need to create this check start battle function. So let's go create that. Okay, now our check start battle function right here. As you can see, same name. So when battle count is equal to 0, which is the starting value, it will jump down here. It will basically move your mouse to this location. It will then search this area within a 1 pixel by 1 pixel block for the exact color of white. And if it finds white, basically it says, if I found white at this location, that means there is no error. So if no error, then change our battle count to 1. That way we will stop going in this loop no more, in this loop from this point forward. And we need to then click that location where the color was found, because that is the flag location in the campaign. And I can show you that here. Basically, we're looking for, I'm using level 554 to start. It's going to look right here, move my mouse here, look for this color, the white color here. And if you're curious about how we got the color that we're looking for and the location, that's what I use the free tool JC Picker for. Again, you can use any tool out there. I would just mouse over this location, figure out what it is. You can see it's giving you X, Y values and the color FFFFFF 1351 711. That's the XY location. So this does not match what I have right here, because normally I would be running this game in full screen, and all the values I have in this script are to handle when the BlueStacks is running full screen. But this is just to show you as an example. So now that I've found it, what it will do is run the check for max wood function. What can happen, again, when you hit about 1 million or 1.5 million wood, I can't remember the exact number, a special window will pop up and say, you've reached your max, do you want to continue? If you want to continue, you have to click this button instead. It's not the normal default button. So we're going to go ahead and create a quick function for check max wood. So the check max wood function is this, and check max wood, it will run it, and it will have a quick sleep right when it runs. I should have put a note here. This is to handle the pop-up delay. So when you click the button here, the window doesn't instantly appear. It kind of fades into the screen. So we want to give it a 1.5 second sleep, depending on your system, it might be longer. It's something for you to test out. If you need to, you can adjust these times. So it will do a quick search of that location where that the reward limit screen has appeared. It will then do a search for the color again at that specific location. If it's not an error, it means the color is found, max wood is showing, and it needs to click it. Otherwise, it will just continue on and exit out of the check start battle. And now that check start battle, or the battle count, is now 1, this function will no longer run through until until all of the conditions are met. So now we need to start our battle, which is what this 6-second sleep is for. Basically, the battle has started. We've clicked all the buttons that need to do to start the battle, verified there was no wood, and now the screen is going to load. And there is a delay. So you click this, the screen starts doing this loading, it folds in. So we're just adding that little bit of the delay for the game to start. So now that the battle has started, we need to send our first set of ships, or not our first set, all of our ships. So this is the function we will use to handle that. Same thing, it's going to verify, have we sent our ships before? We start out with 0, so it says ships have not been sent, so we need to deploy our ships. So we'll go ahead and build our deploy ships function real quick. To deploy the ships, this function is going to basically just click around the screen, but it's going to click in very specific locations. So again, these can be whatever locations you want them to be. You would use the JC picker to pick your locations. These are the locations I have, it's just a repeating double click, or click, sleep, click, sleep, click, sleep. The reason why this sleep is here, and instead of why we have a 1 here, 1 just simply means click 1 time. You could put a 2 to double click, but if you do that, the screen may zoom in, and if it zooms in, it'll mess up where everything is, and you may not end up sending the rest of your ships, and you don't want to do that. So this one, it'll essentially click here, 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 and then continue from there. And when it finishes that function, it will set our ship count to 1, so that when we come back here and this loop goes around again, when it goes to the second part of the loop, or it redoes the loop, it's going to say, okay, ship count is 1, don't deploy your ships again. Instead, we need to just now we're going to send our first set of paratroopers. Sending our first set of paratroopers is almost going to be an exact copy of our ship, sending our first set of ships. So you can see the function is nearly identical. It is just, if the count for troops is 0, then send starting troops, have a quick sleep, wait for them to land, and now we're going to go build that send starting troops function. And again, the send starting troops is almost an exact copy of the deploy ships, just a different amount of clicks. Send our first starting troops. As you can see, originally our ships, we had 6 ships, so we had 6 individual clicks. Right now, I think I have 5 paratroopers. I may have more, but we'll just assume that I have 5. That is why it is doing the 5 individual clicks, and it is just kind of doing a scatter plot location. There's nothing special about this. Again, you just want it to be able to be on the island somewhere. And again, you can use the JC picker to locate where you should be clicking for your individual screen. And the main thing to notice is if you only had, say, 3 paratroopers, you would take those out, or vice versa. If you had more, you could just copy and paste and for as many troopers as you had. But for now, I'm going to leave it with my current count of 5. So now at the end of this function, it's going to change our troop count to 1. And again, this is going to cause our function to stop checking. It will no longer try to send those starting troops anymore when the loop goes back around. Now we have our ships deployed. We've started our battle. We've deployed our ships. We've sent our starting troops. Now we want to keep sending paratroopers non-stop until the battle is over. This is just to make sure your resources stay max and you have less chance of losing. So let's go ahead and create a function, or a quick if statement for that. I'm sorry, we're going to create a function for that. There's no if statement here. It's just going to be a direct function call. So here's the function call to send our second troops. And now we'll go to the bottom, create our function. So here's the second, we're going to send in our second troops. This is almost exactly like our checking for max wood or checking for the start button. It's basically going to, the main thing is it needs, before it sends the second set of troops, it wants to see if the battle has ended. So it's going to, we're going to move our mouse to where the end battle screen appears and check for the restart level or the next button. And if it finds that, or I'm sorry, it's going to search for it. And if it errors, basically it says, I did not find this pure white color at this location, then I'm going to send some more troops into the match. If it found that color, it won't try to click the screen, because if it tried to click the screen at that location, it might click a back button or some other button that shouldn't be clicked. So again, this is just a search to make sure that the battle has not been ended, or the battle has not ended. If it has ended, instead we want to check for the exit conditions. So now we're going to check for those exit conditions. We're just going to pass in our function call. We're just going to call it exit battle, nice and simple. We're going to go down to the bottom and create our function called exit battle. Again, there's going to be a repeat of almost everything we've done already. Create the function exit battle. Same thing, it's going to move your mouse to check for the finish screen button. It's going to try to find that color, the white, at that location. And if there is not an error, which means it found the color of pure white at this location, not an error, it will then reset all of our variables back to 0, our battle count, ship count, troop count, and then it will move the mouse to a completely different location, not the location we're looking for, but a different location. And the reason for that is this. I will show you. So I will do the battle real quick. Click, 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 click. There's that zoom in I was talking about when you click too fast. Okay, so now now that the battle is over, we need to exit the battle. So here is the exit battle function. The main thing to notice with this function is the fact that we're going to be looking for the white down here and not the white up here, because this white is there even during the battle. That's how you can exit the battle if you think you're going to lose, so we don't want to search for that. So we're going to look for this next button. I'm looking for this white in the next button. So I move the mouse to that, find the white button. If that exists, so there's no error, the color's found, I'm going to reset all of our battle variables back to 0, but then I'm going to move the mouse back up here to this arrow. And the reason for that is when you press this button, it will take you back to the screen and take you right back into the original position of the match that you want to keep replaying. This is the battle check start battle. When we created this, we said move the mouse, look for this location. So if you would have pressed next, it would have gone on to the next battle and then it would have broken your loop. But by pressing the back button, it reloads the screen and brings you right back here. And now that all of our variables are set back to 0, when the loop starts, the while one loop, it will now say verify the window's open. It's still open. And since our battle count was set back to 0 at the bottom down here at this function, and our ship count, troop count, it will then start all of this process again. It'll verify that it can click it, and when it clicks it, it will check for the max wood, see if the max wood screen appeared. If it didn't have the max wood appear, it will then send your ships. It will then send your troops. It'll then send your everything else. It will just keep going through a loop until it hits the into the screen. So now that it's working, or everything's built, I'm going to show you this script running so that you can see what it does. Every mouse movement from this point on will be the automation. So something that I almost forgot about, first, to run the script, you might want to, you will save this. So we're gonna save it, I'm gonna just save it what I've already saved it as, video 2, give it a name, save it on my desktop, place it, sure. And now that we have the file, to run it, you would just right click and then select run script. So the script is now started. I have my mouse over there, so there you go. That was the sleep. It moved over, moved the mouse to check, made sure there was no max wood. It's now waiting that couple of seconds to start. It's sending the troops. There's 2, 4, 6. It's now going to start deploying paratroopers the first set, and then it's going to start deploying additional paratroopers. Every time you see the mouse move down to the bottom, that's checking for that next screen to see when the battle is over. So trooper send, check next, trooper send, next. And now the battle's over. It found the next screen. It pressed the back button. You saw the mouse move up to the top. It has now gone into its couple second sleep. It's going to restart. Check for max wood, not there. It will then continue on. And that is the entire script and how it works. This again can be used for max wood. It can be and max gold per day. Just start it, turn off your monitor, go to sleep, wake up in the morning. You'll probably have about 9 million, or I'm sorry, about 7 to 8 million gold and about 1 million wood every day. And this script can easily be modified to progress through the levels. So if you didn't want it to press back, but instead you wanted it to click next to just keep progressing through the levels, like you just wanted to power through a lot of these levels, you could easily do that. So instead of clicking the button up here, you would just have it click down here and click next and then continue on to the next battle. You'd have to modify the script a little bit more because now it will no longer check for the start battle conditions. If you want me to make something like that and make the modifications for that, just let me know in the comments below and I'll modify the script to show that. I did use that. That's how I got to this level 554. It just played itself until I noticed it was having issues and losing a little bit. So I stopped there and continued just using this level. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped someone out there. If there's any other games, I don't care what type of games they are, if it's something that can be automated that requires special timing or whatever, just let me know. Again, comments below. Even if you want me to make different scripts for this one, I have another script that I made. Again, these are for my son, that will automatically perform battles, because even if you hit max gold and rewards here, you can still battle in the arena and collect more gold if you wanted to. The only problem is you might lose battles, but that's okay. It can handle those losses. It'll handle the wins and the losses and just keep collecting resources. Again, if you want that one, just let me know and I'll make it happen. All right. Thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoy this. Hope to see a lot more players out there with a lot of resources with very little effort. Thank you. Bye.